Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous Aquariuses, to your July 2025 reading. This is going to be for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Many of you are intuitively guided. I thank you for paying attention to your intuition. Um, I feel it's your spirit guides nudging you towards a reading, whether it be mine or someone else's. Your spirit guides will use whatever means necessary to get a message to you. So some of you may be in love with an Aquarius, platonically, romantically. Same thing. Your guides know you're here. They probably knew you were going to be here before you knew. So just be open to receiving messages. Aquarius, I feel like July is going to be a great month for you. I feel like your creativity is or has the opportunity to really, let's just say, catch on fire. So I feel like whatever you pour into your creativity, you're definitely going to reap the benefits. I just feel that. Same thing with love. I feel like there's like full moon magic happening for a few signs, not every sign, but I feel like you're one of those signs where something around the full moon, which is in Capricorn, it just feels like well, Capricorn is your neighbor, by the way. Um, but I feel like it might bring in unexpected encounters. Whether you already know the person or you don't, something is going to happen out of the blue. But isn't that love? Like you can't really plan it. But this feels like a good month for you, period. I would say the only thing that you might want to consider is, like meditation, yoga, something that quiets the mind. Because Aquarius, when you quiet your mind, you're really opening yourself up to spiritual wisdom. Like this is when you really gain a lot of insight. So, however, whether it comes through meditation, yoga, or just sitting out in nature, and then just absorbing. So it sounds exciting. So let's go ahead and get into the reading. So we will use the major arcanas for our bullet points. Mother Mary will have the honor of opening up our reading. A deck that I brought back. I've been looking for another clarifying deck, and one of our beautiful soul sisters, Christina, said that she missed this deck. So it's interesting. I had her go search for it, but I found it. And I decided that I'm going to use them as clarifiers for right now. Um, yeah, so something different. And then for your main spread, um, the Tarot of Dreams really jumped out to me, and I thought, well, that's weird. That's not normally a deck I pull for Aquarius. Then I was thinking of the Capricorn moon. So I feel like that's why this deck wanted to come out. With the Seven of Pentacles didn't want to come up. That's like your tree of life. Seven of Pentacles, it talks about patience first, right? This is about some seeds you may have been nurturing. This could be about seeds you didn't even know existed yet. Like predestined. But this means something's coming to fruition. But you might have had to be patient. Um, First and foremost. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up your reading. It's funny. Every time I say that, let's open up your reading. I want to backtrack that because I feel like the minute I hit start, your reading has started. And I say that because I am an open vessel for our spirit guides of the light. So sometimes well, not sometimes, a lot of times, they give me messages before we even begin a reading. And by the way, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I'm doing opposite signs again this month. So I just got done with Leo, which is your opposite. All right. Mother Mary, Mother Mary. Quiet. How interesting. I just was talking about that. I love when, to me, this is just our spirit guides giving me confirmation that what I was picking up was right. That this, a sign from our guides that I got it right. And I don't mean that to shoot my own horn. I mean that to know that our guides are present. So quiet. I go into peaceful silence and I listen. I go into peaceful silence and I listen. And then we have Jesus. He's pointing up like too divine. I pray for Jesus' help and guidance with this situation. So quiet and Jesus. So I feel like that means that if you're praying about something, I mean, it's being heard. Not only is it being heard, but it's being answered. I would say, allow yourself to be open in the way that it's going to be answered because many times our prayers or our affirmations are answered differently than what we expect, but usually, well, almost always, or maybe I should say always, if divine is involved, it's better than what we expect. All right, let's bring in the major arcanas. And I really just use these as like bullet points, that tell us what the reading's going to be about. Sometimes they have their own special message, though. Many times they do. So let's go ahead. We're going to shoot for 3 or 4. That doesn't guarantee me. All right, I'm going to quiet my mind. Actually, I want to bring the lid down so I don't forget. Well, number one, they all came face up. That's good. Hello, fool. Hello, risk taker. My dreamer. What are you dreaming about? Where do you want to go? To me, the fool represents a sense of adventure. The fool lives in the present moment. So it's not about like, where is my ultimate destination? The fool enjoys each and every moment. Maybe not each and every moment, but it's about the adventure of the ultimate journey. We have the Emperor. So I have to say, first of all, it is a card of Aries. The father figure also. But he's looking right back at the fool, and I often feel the Emperor is like a business owner. The Emperor is um, definitely has leadership abilities, and it's usually through one's own experiences. This is great energy for your creative pursuits. Some of you, this can certainly talk about business ownership, like you're at the top, or it can be promotions where you're now like leading. Maybe you're leading a team. All right. Well, hello, Will. And then hello, world. Wow. And I'm saying wow because the world signifies two things. Well, a few things. Number one, it signifies the ending of a chapter, which makes complete sense because we're in the year of the Hermit, which is that final reflection of the last 9 years. including this year. But then next year, brand new 9-year cycle, brand new. What do I want to bring along? So having the Fool being what's mirroring the world is great energy. And it is the Fool that's in the middle of the world here. It's like you are about to take a leap of faith on something that just feels good. It feels right. And hello, destiny. So remember how we saw the Seven of Pentacles? We'll see if it comes out, but I do feel like we were meant to see it. So whatever you're creating, it's like destined. Whatever you're doing in this next chapter, it feels like there's a lot of destiny opening up. So it could be like predestined seeds that are now coming to fruition. And how do I love that the wheel is right next to the world? This is really beautiful energy, Aquarius. I feel like there's no limitations here. Quite the opposite. It's just like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What adventures do I want to have? Some of you, it's like, again, it feels like it's your creative nature. Um, but man, I feel like business ownerships, I feel, if you're working for another, then I feel advancements in your career. But again, it feels like it's stemming from your creativity. But of course, that's not all. I just know it. I just know it. Okay. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. The Seven of Pentacles again did not want to come up. You have, let's put it this way. You're heading into a destined time. These seeds, they are coming to fruition. Otherwise, the Fool wouldn't be here. And I love that it's the Fool who's going to take these seeds, because the Fool is not a fear-based energy. The Fool lives in the present moment, clears the past. This little knapsack that the Fool carries, I feel like that's the wisdom of at least the last 9 years. But it's the clarity over it, right? It's not letting anything get in my way or anyone, anything or anyone. Okay, but we're going to put it back in again because I do want to give him a shuffle. And who knows? Maybe why we keep seeing the Seven of Pentacles before it actually comes to the table is because some of these seeds maybe you need to be ready for. But again, the Fool would be. Some of you may become a father. I have to say that. I don't have to say that, but I feel like something is telling me say that. And you may have freaked out at first, but I feel like, again, as you go into this quiet mind, you feel all the blessings. Okay, and I just feel like that's just for just a couple. All right, did I cut them? I don't know, so we'll go ahead and do it again. Just in case. Come on, don't be the Seven of Pentacles. Queen of Swords didn't want to come up. Probably you. All right. Now I'm ready to take whatever wants to come to the table. We have Page of Swords. Seven of Swords. We have the Queen of Wands. I'm going to do five across. We'll come back and talk about this. It's interesting that the Queen of Wands, though, is at this moment connected to the Emperor and also the Wheel. And in a reading, I really feel like you're all signs, unless I feel it differently. Like, I don't feel like you're the Emperor and the Queen. You're one or the other. Um, but I like this like-minded energy. She does have the Seven of Swords behind her. We'll see why. I feel like I already know, but I want to get the rest of the cards. I need to stop talking. They're taking their good old time. But seeing the Seven of Pentacles twice, where it talks about patience, I got to give it patience. Interesting how long it's taking though. I'm just going to say while we're waiting that I feel like this queen, and she's got the Seven of Swords behind her, but it feels like it's not her energy. And then you have the Page of Swords. It feels like someone who, interesting, and then we get another sword, the Knight of Swords. But this is about some type of communication coming in. I always notice the colors. It's a white horse to me, truth, purity. I think I can trust it. It's part of the wheel and it's a part of your destiny. So I feel like, anyways, I feel like this queen has dealt with someone who, whether it be at work, love, or maybe all the above, has dealt with someone who, well, I want to say was a liar. I want to say was immature or is immature. I feel like you have your back to that energy though. And I feel the majority of you're the queen, and I feel that you're looking forward, not backwards. We have the Six of Pentacles. That's that fine art of give and take. And then we have the Hermit. So interesting. We're in the year of the Hermit. This is the card of Virgo. And it can represent, going through the dark night of the soul, like darkness where I'm seeking the light. But the Hermit finds the light. Sometimes it's the energy of, well, it's really about your spirituality. But often when we go into this energy, maybe our spirituality wasn't really, you know, front and center. But by time that we have evaluated, reflected upon, then we understand so much more. This is really connecting to your spirituality. And with the world here, it is the most spiritual time. This can also represent like the closing, the ending, and then reminding ourselves that, this year is really meant for that final reflection. What do I want to bring along in the next 9 years, or yeah, 9 years? And what don't I? Well, I don't want to bring the Seven of Swords, I'll tell you that much. And I feel like what happened with this queen is it feels like something was unbalanced. Well, Seven of Swords would definitely be unbalanced. I often feel the Seven of Swords is like a lack mentality. But I get this sense because it's next to the page, like someone who just didn't grow up. And listen, maybe they have no like they don't feel calling to grow up. So I kind of like your back to this energy. I feel like one of the things you were reflecting upon was in the Six of Pentacles energy, which is that, again, that fine energy of give and take, where you could have gave, but not received equally. This queen is very passionate, but so are you. And, it's interesting because I feel like the Seven of Swords energy, which again is untrustworthy energy, we can all get stuck in those webs. But I don't feel like you're someone who, well, I feel like once you know the truth, and if there's like this unwillingness to change, then I feel like you're moving on. And it feels like you have already moved on, to be honest. So the Hermit is just about like what has happened here. Excuse me. All right, let's keep going. All right, we're going to take what's face up first. Hello, Ace of Wands. Following the Hermit, which is good because, again, final reflection. When you see a nine, that's usually what it means, reflection, but final reflection. And then, hello, Ace of Wands, passion ignited. It's mirroring the Fool. And then, hello, unexpected cup of fulfillment. Right next to the Ace of Wands. And it's actually, this night is looking, by the way, this night is also coming into the reading. And to me, that means it probably hasn't happened yet. This is about what's unexpected. But because the Ace of Wands is before it, I feel like you'll feel it. You get this feeling that there's change in the air. We have the Three of Wands, optimism, beautiful. We have the Palace of Pentacles. There's that Queen of Swords. And then Hello World again. Well, it's just kind of interesting just the way it's falling. Queen of Swords, which is you, but I also feel you're the Queen of Wands. Male or female, by the way, it doesn't really matter. And with the Knight of Cups underneath this Queen, it would, I feel like it would call to our feminine energy, which is loving and nurturing. And it's coming directly for you. Like it's for you. And it's interesting because this Knight of Cups is also brings out the world. And then we have the world here. But before we jump into that, let's look at this. Palace of Pentacles. I feel like this is our ultimate goal. Like, where would I love to see myself? I'd love to see myself in the Palace of Pentacles, which makes complete sense for you, Aquarius. like being able to take care of oneself. But this was really being able to take care of many, you know, let's say, well, I feel like because it's coming under the Six of Pentacles, it's that feeling of if I have more than I need, then I'm going to share. Mirroring the Hermit, spirituality. Your spirituality is what's creating this abundance over here. And no wonder you have your back to the Seven of Swords and what I feel is immature energy. Because I feel like there's change coming for you. But I do feel like you had to make change first. And probably the elimination of, let's just say, anyone that you just feel like you cannot trust. I feel like you don't want, like, I don't want to cloud up my mind. I want my mind to be free and clear. And I feel like chances are you gave someone plenty of opportunities to, let's say, mature. But I feel like they chose not to. Their choice, right? But your decision feels like, okay, so be it. But I am changing. I am evolving. And therefore, and as you evolve, by the way, what really is not serving you, the universe really does try to allow it to fade away. It's the human nature that tries to pull it back in sometimes. But I don't feel that with the Queen. I feel like she knows. And I love the Queen of Swords here because I feel like you're both queens because she's connected to the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Cups. I feel like one of the messages here is once you've cleared this energy and you jump into, let's say, the Three of Wands energy, which is optimism, but it's very much like the Fool, where I'm living in the present moment. It's giving it away. It's saying to the universe, I trust that my ships will come in. And I know they'll come in their divine timing. Well, you're right. And they're coming. And I feel like in different ways. Some of you, your life may seem unrecognizable, let's say a year from now, if even that long. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Three of Pentacles, beautiful. This is about your individuality and being proud of who you are. This is about your creativity. And this is about other people really admiring you for what you do. A lot of times you don't even know that. But sometimes I feel like I don't really need to know, like I know I'm doing my thing. That's what you're doing here. You're doing something that definitely has piqued your mind, your interest. And I do feel like this is about your creativity and what you bring to the table. It's a celebration of you. It's really recognition and reward. See what's under it. Three of Cups, 33. Three Cups, reason to celebrate. Maybe I just don't know that yet. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision and let's go deeper. Let's figure out who these people are. Even though I feel like you are the majority of them. But There's two worlds here, and one of the worlds is coming under the Knight of Cups, while the other world is connected to destiny. Even this world actually is mirroring destiny. All right. Start at the beginning, but read it as a whole. So again, I'm using the crystal vision. Oh my gosh. Hello, Knight of Cups. Wow. The Hermit underneath it. Knight of Cups coming over this Page of Swords. It's interesting we have the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Tower over the Seven of Swords. Perfect place for it. And then Ten of Swords over the Queen of Wands. Well, okay. So I feel like if I'm having a conversation with someone and they carry untrustworthy energy, or let's just say they have a tendency to lie. Well, enough is enough, is what I feel. This Ten of Swords coming over the Queen could certainly represent something that you gave multiple chances to, but it feels like something has changed. Well, it's you. And maybe this reflection through the Hermit's energy is what allows this change. You know, Ten of Swords can be submission. It can be something that happens over and over and over again, but it keeps ending up in like a tower type energy. Well, that's because it's not meant to be anymore. That's because you deserve better. You know, don't regret it because you probably learned something. And I feel like it's important that we learn not to regret, you know, not to carry past energy forward with us. So I feel like you are, or you've already said to someone, I've had enough. I've tried my best. And I do feel like because the Six of Pentacles is here, I do feel like you're probably the giver. Now remember, if you were the taker, then someone may be handing you the tower. But I'm really feeling it the other way around. Like I gave and I gave and I tried and I tried, but it just keeps, you know, it's like, how can I make someone else change their ways when they don't want to? I can't. I can't control them. But what I can control is me. So I'm looking at a better life. I want to surround myself with better people. You know, more like minded energy. So, goodbye, Seven of Swords. Goodbye. I couldn't be happier to see the tower right now. Let's say it's an existing relationship and you're not sure. Well, I would just ask yourself, you know, are you with someone that you can trust? Are you with someone who values you? Remember, the Three of Pentacles is all about celebrating your individuality as your guides do, as your angels do. Wow. Knight of Swords over the Knight of Swords. There's some mirroring energy going on here. You know, the first thing I felt is I would not be surprised if two people are thinking about each other. Now, I'm not talking about the Seven of Swords because I feel like it's the end of that. Even if I'm not completely out of it mentally, emotionally, it's the end. So let's look at the Knight of Cups that's now coming over this page. And then these two Knights of Swords. You have a lot of swords. So I just have a feeling the two people are thinking of each other at the same time. But I don't think it's happenstance. I think it's your spiritual team. I think they're saying this is the perfect time. Right? Aquarius has checked out emotionally and mentally of this old energy and now feels open. You know, the Queen of Wands is someone who goes after her passions. And of course, they're not all going to pay off, but that's life, right? And what have we learned from each and every lesson? You know, each and every relationship. Sometimes it's just knowing what you don't want. But anyways, I don't want to keep going back because I feel like this is about what's coming in. Let's remember every knight's going to complete their mission. We have two Knights of Cups, two Knights of Swords. Ooh, hello. All right, let's keep going. It's like the changing of the guards. We have the Five of Wands over the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so chances are, because the Five of Wands is a lot of drama, it can be a lot of fighting. And coming over the Six of Pentacles, I have a feeling it's an old argument or maybe even a current argument. And you do have to be careful in the Five of Wands because I have a feeling it's tying back again to the Seven of Swords, where this person, like, I could see, like, you catch them in a lie, yet they'll deny it and they'll deny it and they'll deny it. But you know it, yet they'll deny it. So, the Five of Wands, it's a five. It's asking for change. It's asking you, don't get pulled into the drama. Change it. So how can I change it if the other person is not willing? Well, that's where I feel like the Tower comes in. And I want to say, you know, this type of energy can certainly come between you and you creating this Palace of Pentacles. Okay, let's keep going. Interesting how we just split. All right, we have the Empress. You know, it's interesting. She's in reverse. I'm going to leave her in reverse, though I don't really feel she's going to be in reverse for long. I do want to say that we now have the Emperor and the Empress. Hello. I call them my power couple. Empress being in reverse. Well, listen, some of you just gone through some traumatic energy. And I could see like wanting to take a break from love. But I don't feel like that stops it. I don't feel like it's going to stop like the initiation of what's next, who's next. So I feel like the only reason the Empress is in reverse is because she has to start believing in herself again. And it's like she is in this state of reflection right now. And I do feel like she's going to turn around. All right. We have the Strength card, card of Leo, over the Ace of Wands. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. So we have two pages, Page of Swords, Page of Pentacles. Could certainly be two people's younger energy, you being the Page of Swords, someone else being the Page of Pentacles. And I'm saying that because we have both the Emperor and the Empress. And by the way, if you want someone who has similar goals as you do, definitely similar morals, which I feel like are super important, has life experience, is someone who is much more empathetic and compassionate like you. Well, here it is. Here it is. The strength card, also an important energy because it's the inner us. It's kind of like our moon sign, which is what I'm doing a series through my podcast on each sign's moon sign. I haven't done yours yet, but I will. I might do yours next so I can connect them. But anyway, so it really is the inner you. It's the shadow and the light, but it's about balancing it, right? I can't get rid of my shadow, but I can balance it. And it may mean like, maybe I got pulled into someone's drama, but now I see it. Now I know it. So it really becomes your courage. Like I can see this building you up where it feels like someone else doesn't have that same interest. But then there is someone else who does. Okay. That probably confused a lot of people. We have the Eight of Wands over the Three of Wands. What I think about, I bring about. What I think about, I bring about. Knight of Swords right above it. Three of Wands below it, which is exactly what the Three of Wands knows. Like, what I think about, I bring about, but I'm patient. I know that my ships will come in. This can also be fast moving energy, though, because there's probably a lot of passion attached to this. And it's an eight. So, infinity, as above, so below. Could be why we're seeing the synchronicities. Um, but it's also about a new beginning. Boy, I feel like you're ready for it. And it doesn't have to be all parts of your life. This is a month where I definitely think about your creativity and what you can create from it. And a lot of you already are. So there could be new avenues that open up to you. Like, I don't want you to forget that part. I feel like sometimes when love starts to show, we forget everything else the reading is talking about. We have the Six of Cups. Okay, well, I kind of felt that. So, Six of Cups, nostalgia, happy memories, treasured memories. Of what? Of who? How could it not be who's ever in the Knight of Cups? I don't like to do readings where we talk about people we already know coming back. Now, I am not talking about the Seven of Swords. And if they did try to come back, I feel you're at the point now where you would immediately just like, out, get out, 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 out. Um, you know what else I just realized? That each page has the Knight of Cups connected to it. Page of Swords, Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups, Page of Pentacles. Come on. Does that have to mean that it's an earth sign? It doesn't. You know, and the Page of Pentacles is also about what you've been learning through life. You know, it's a very laid back type of energy. That may be a clue for you. Like this could be someone who carries pretty laid back type of energy. Doesn't mean they're not proactive in their life because I feel they are. And again, the Emperor and the Empress showing up. Well, they are my power couple. And if they decide to collaborate, well, that Palace of Pentacles, they'll create it together. You know, whether we're collaborating together or we're helping each other on, you know, what I do and I can help you with what you do. But I feel like we could put our minds together and create abundance. And I mean in all different ways, but definitely I feel money. So I have a feeling, and listen, I feel like there's a couple different clues. Number one, I feel like this is someone that chances are you have thought about. You may not be thinking about them all the time. But I do feel like for some of you, you might be like I could see like when you put your head down on the pillow at night, you think back to someone and wonder like, I just wonder what life would have been like with that person. I know that energy because, you know, Sam and I were teenage um boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we broke up, and then 40 years later, um, he reached out and we are now together. Took some time, but that was me. That was like me, the Empress in reverse. I didn't shut it down. I just, because we lived in different states. So, you know, right away he was asking me to move in with him. It took me 5 years. But we talked every single day on the phone. So the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that's the type of energy I feel. And even with social media today, where you can very easily, you know, put that you're single or you're in a relationship. You know, some of you may have that you're in a relationship and you might be changing your status to single. And someone else picks up on that very quickly. And maybe you would hope they'd pick up on that. And they do. All right, let's just take a card over the Queen of Swords and the World. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Hello, Ace of Cups. And then I had a card go off the table. Hello, Nine of Pentacles. Wow, Aquarius. Can you have love and money? Well, here it is. Nine of Pentacles. Beautiful, successful self-employment. This is you reaping the benefits of your hard work, whatever it may be. But it's your thoughts, your ideas, your creativity is what's building this success. And then the Ace of Cups. Number one, I want to say this is also for many of you, a love of what you do. It doesn't take away the hard work, but when you love what you do, sometimes someone's got to pull you away. Like Sam often has to be like, are you going to stop working today? Because I love what I do. But this is kind of answering, you know, will you be successful within your money? The answer is yes. Is this love that's coming through the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords, is it true? Is it real? Well, the Ace of Cups is yes. Look at that. Mm-hmm. You have two cards of Virgo, by the way. Um, I don't know, Aquarius, you're falling in love. Ace of Cups is mirroring the Fool. The Nine of Pentacles is mirroring the world and sitting over the world. I hope you notice the synchronicities because I feel like it's the synchronicities that's telling us a story. And by the way, I feel like, let's just say who's ever in this Six of Cups energy, who's ever in the Ace of Cups energy, I feel like this is going to be a relationship that moves quickly. And I usually say the opposite. But I feel like the passion is just undeniable. The synchronicities are undeniable. It is definitely a higher vibration of love, probably higher than you've ever experienced before. This could be like your true soulmate or a true twin flame. All right. I don't feel like I need to clarify much, but let's look at the Empress. We have the Four of Cups. Interesting. So, the Four of Cups talks about discontentment and boredom in one's emotional world. I often feel like the Empress has her shit together as it relates to, her money. Doesn't mean like I'm rich, but maybe maybe I'm on my way. What am I holding? Four Cups. So the meaning of this card is learning to use your spiritual discernment, but there's a cup coming in. So it's interesting. We're looking at the Empress, who's in reverse, who's usually very loving and nurturing. But I feel like she had to shut that part of herself down just for a little while. But now it feels like she's ready. Like, almost like she's saying, like, I know financially what I need to do. But as it relates to love, I don't. But there's a cup that comes in that Four of Cups. You can't see it in this image. But that cup is it's usually, when you see it, it's like coming from above, like from the hand of divine. And here is that cup. Here it is. Not even that far away. All right. I just want to continue with that a little bit longer. Queen of Wands. And then look at this. Soulmates. Come on. I have to say, the Queen of Wands, who normally moves according to her passions, her desires, I feel like because I did get stuck in, let's just say, someone's web for a while, and I probably had to fight and claw my way out, but you did, or you are. I feel like most of you already have, but for those who are still, you know, Or let's say, you're torn. Well, simply ask yourself, can you trust the person you're with? Do you have to worry every time they step outside the house? I don't have no clue what they're doing, right? Are they leaving you in a state of worry? And is this what you want? Is this what you want, let's say, the next 90 years to look? By the way, I feel like when the world shows, it is the completion of something. We already know what that is. Tower right over the Seven of Swords. But it's the beginning of something new. And I feel like what happens in the world's energy has the opportunity to last for the rest of my life. So I feel like this Queen of Wands, where the Empress is in reverse, I feel like she's turning around. Why? There's a soulmate energy. You want to talk about different vibrations of love, which there are. This certainly could have been a karmic soulmate also. And that definitely means there's a lesson. But this is about the promise of your tomorrow. It's like it is answering the Four of Wands. I'm sorry, the Four of Cups. And it's answering with the soulmate, who is over here, but also the Emperor and the Empress. So I'm not surprised at all to see the soulmates. And I think really what it's saying is the Empress needed to take some time, or she felt like I needed to take some time, maybe to really hone in her spirituality, but also her creativity. And I feel like if I dealt with probably narcissistic type energy, then I want to take a moment. I just want to allow myself to heal, understand it, but from a spiritual lens, and then not allowing oneself to be stuck. And that's why the Queen of Wands, I feel like, just came out, because she's a queen that will move forward according to her passions. If she feels passionate, she's going to move towards it. And I feel like this is just calling for you to take on this Queen's energy. Holy cow. All right. I feel like we don't need to clarify that anymore. Let's go ahead and bring out the clarifying love situations. And this deck doesn't always talk about just love. All right. Looming agenda. You have different ideas about love and intimacy. Well, we know where that goes, right over the Seven of Swords. You have different ideas about love and intimacy. Delicate balance. Strike a balance between freedom and commitment. I feel like this is talking to the Empress. Strike a balance between freedom and contentment. Maybe the Empress wanted to be free for a little while. And now I feel like I need to turn that Empress around. Because I feel like that's exactly what you're doing. You're finding that beautiful balance. And freedom is important to you, even within a relationship. It doesn't mean like, you can do whatever you want to do and, you don't have to answer to someone else. It's not about that. It's about like, when you need alone time. Well, definitely let your partner know that. But again, I have a feeling this is like-minded energy, so I feel like they'll get it right away. You probably won't even have to speak it. Okay. Missed chances. Don't have regrets. Cherish your moments together. Mm. I feel like I'm glad I turned the Empress around. Resilient roots. Endure the storms. Protect your core and grow stronger with each challenge. That's what you've been doing. All right, let's bring out the romance angels. Since love is very strong in your reading. And let's just take a couple. We have trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. Express your love. Go ahead and make that romantic gesture. That's why when I saw the two Knights of Cups, I'm sorry, well, you do have two Knights of Cups, but two Knight of Swords, I thought to myself, or maybe I even said it, like, where two people may be thinking of each other and they both may be thinking about reaching out. Well, I feel like this is saying, like, if that's what you're thinking, then go ahead and reach out. You can reach out with a simple, like, hello, how you been? Or let them reach out. I'm not worried here because I feel like it's just meant to happen. So, however it happens, it's going to happen. Like, I feel so confident in that. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. All right, I'm going to let that be. So, these Knight of Cups, they're romantic, they're real, and it says it's worth exploring it. It's telling you really have no reason to fear expressing your love, expressing your emotions. And by the way, again, I feel very like-minded energy. And let's just say this is someone again from back, and I feel like back in the day, especially when you see the Emperor and the Empress, I feel like each one of them, they came into this lifetime both separately to accomplish certain things, to learn certain things, to reach certain, I want to say status, like a status, but I don't feel like that's the ultimate goal. Um, but I feel like opening up of one's spirituality and spiritual wisdom. And that comes through sometimes difficult experiences, but even though the Empress was in reverse, and I feel like that was just her taking some time off. And I hope that has nothing to do with misconnections. But I don't know how you could miss this connection, to be honest. I feel like the only way I'd miss it is if I was still stuck back in that Seven of Swords energy. Because for some of you, it's literally you changing your status, which gets the ball rolling. Or it can even be word of mouth, like, oh, did you hear Aquarius just became single? No, really? Ring, ring. So, however it happens, the energy is presenting itself, your energy, but also the other person's energy of the one. I'm talking about the one who is yet to be. Your energies match. I feel like your morals match, even your ultimate goals. Because I feel like it is the Emperor and the Empress who are creating this palace of pentacles together. All right, I'm going to let that be. Just a little bit of everything in here, but holy cow, I didn't want to talk about love. And, it's interesting. It's like, I don't know. Like sometimes I speak to my guides all the time and I tell them like, do I have too much love in my readings? Like, is it too much? And the answer is love is part of life. Love is a big part of life. It's not the only part, but it is a big part, especially to the soul. And we have soulmates. We have soulmates. So I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. I thank you. I will do your moon sign probably today and then upload that because I think it's really, and by the way, the reason why I'm really doing the moon sign, I do want you to know your moon sign. Um, but I also want you to realize that, let's say you have a clue who I'm talking about. Well, knowing their moon sign can give you a lot of valuable information. I feel like more than their sun. It's up to you if you want to watch that, but that is like the second reason why I'm doing that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take each sign and I'm going to do compatibility. So, like, who are you compatible with? Why? We'll break it down. We'll break it down. All right, guys, I'll let that be. I love you. Thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.